We're out of two cup competition in less than a month. What do you think?
And my cope to it is that it's maybe our way of trying to self-sabotage, get out of cups early so we just fully go on the fronts for Premier League and Champions League. But I don't feel encouraged by how we performed in those two cups, especially in the way that we approach them, like as far as our game plan, trying to take the initiative on offense, because we look dull unless it's time to chase a goal or the opposition scores first.
What do you think this type of performances does to us as a team going into the Premier League?
Going into the Premier League, I would like to think that we would get back into greater form, but from a neutral venue or an away venue standpoint, that we're not up for it and that we get our best energy when we're at home at the Emirates. So hopefully we get it right against Bournemouth, coming up on the 11th, and we have a fixture against Sporting on the 9th, but right now, yeah, midweek, but like if we're not at the Emirates, I don't feel good about how our performances will be moving forward based on what we've seen in the last two cup competitions.
Well, I think we have 5 games at home and 2 away games to finish the Premier League campaign. Do you think we can do it with the Premier League title?
I still think and believe that we can do it as far as the Premier League goes, but the biggest game that will come is when we go to Manchester City at the Etihad, because if we go there with at least a point away and we take care of business the rest of the way, then that's where I believe we can do it.
What do you think we need to improve to not repeat this type of performance in the Premier League?
What we need to improve, I think, is just moving the ball a lot quicker on offense, but also having a set lineup, because I understand for the cup competitions, we rotate our players, try to keep everyone as fresh as we can, but it's clear that Victor Gyökeres or Kai Havertz, they have to be a focal point right up top. And then we need wingers like Martinelli that just has a directness getting behind the other team's back line. And really just more stability. But we have a stable lineup in the Premier League more often than not. So I think that's where we can bank on, is that structure that we have with a back four and David Raya playing out the back.
I know they say pressure is considered when you're looking at Max Dolman, but I think pressure builds diamonds. Do you think we need to give him more game time to get more confidence going into, having him involved in the rest of the game of the season?
After his performance against Everton weeks ago, that already is clear that he has the talent and the ability to be a part of the squad on any given match week. So with that said, I think he has a big role to play for the rest of the way. Arsene Wenger said, if you're good enough, you're old enough to play, and that's what I believe that we should follow through the rest of the way, and that gives room for Saka to come in the middle at the 10 with Abera Eze being hurt and Odegaard getting back into fitness. So Max Dowman, it's clear as day that he has the ability to drive the team forward, take the initiative to just have more shots, decisive passing, dribbling, that kind of thing. So, I think we do need more involvement from him. It doesn't matter that he's 16 years old. Like, with the eye test itself, he looks like our best player on the field.
If you have to give Mikel Arteta an advice going to the rest of the season, what will it be?
If I have to give Mikel Arteta advice, this time in Southampton, he was very proactive as far as substitutions go and trying to get a result out of the game. And when you saw Gyökeres and a couple others go on, that's when we, got a goal back. And again, it looked like we were just going for overtime as soon as we got that one goal. Like, we didn't push for any more after that. And Southampton just caught us napping after the corner. So I want to say more proactivity as far as the substitutions go, and just encouraging his players really to find their own solutions, not play so rigid around the box, but just don't be afraid to go work in centrally at times.
Yeah, that's my thought also. I don't like the fact that you kind of coach everything. Let people express themselves. Let the players express themselves. Yeah, you have the tactics, but give them the freedom not to play rigid and to, this is Southampton, for God's sake. We should be breezing through Southampton. You saw what Man City did to Liverpool earlier today, and I just think that this is one of the games that we need to take charge and be able to like move past and get the confidence from that, and that helps us to go into the Premier League, into the Champions League, and that gives us hope. Any positives for the rest of the season?
Any positives for the rest of the season? I'll say, this is the first time that we've lost back-to-back games, like in all competitions. And so we normally will bounce back well from losses, and I don't see us losing back-to-back games for the rest of the season. But I think the main thing I'll take away is that we showed to a degree in this game at least that whoever we put in the lineup, they can do a performance. But I think our team was just all over the place as far as like the people and the roles that was needed. Like Havertz and Jesus, they weren't sure of where they needed to be. Martinelli and Dalman were the only ones on the field from an offensive standpoint that looked like they knew where to be at all times. Southampton, they played a great game overall today. They restricted our chances. They took theirs when it needed to be, and they knocked us out of this competition before. And it's just, home and away, it's a very big deal in England in all competitions. And unfortunately, going to their ground where they're more comfortable at, like this is still a former Premier League team at the end of the day. They have that quality. They might be back up next season. So even though we needed to change around our players, I don't think we had a lineup that respected the competition today.